So picture this, girls as young as 6 years old. Mum wakes them up, 4 a.m. in the morning. There's no sunlight, okay? There's no paths. Many of them don't have footwear either. And it's like, wake up, we're going to collect water. This is the routine, this is the wake up call. They're waking up, smile on their face, by the way, which is something I don't still understand to this day. So they start this journey. And more often than not, there's no clean path to this well. It's not a nice paved road. There's terrain, you're falling, you're getting hurt. And there's also a lot of threats, not nice threats, male threats, and lots of bad things are happening in that darkness, which shouldn't be happening. This goes on every single day.
So it's a much bigger problem you're solving than just collecting water.
These girls, there's so many. There's health, there's safety. Children should have the freedom to be children. So the sort of things that we're hearing back from the villages are, now I can fulfill my dreams. Now I can become something. Some of these girls have left the villages to go to university.
Do you think you would have felt differently if you weren't a father?
Yeah.
If you didn't have a daughter?
If I didn't have a daughter, I probably wouldn't be able to feel it like I feel it now.
Every man carries something. Expectations, silence, struggles, the weight of having to look unbreakable. The Dad Project is a home for real, unfiltered conversations on men's mental health, the kind that have been missing for far too long. We share powerful stories and raw perspectives from those living it and those guiding men through it. Filmed at the Old Court in Windsor, it's about breaking silence, reshaping strength, and creating conversations that actually matter. I'm your host, Naroop Juti. Let's talk.
Shaz, you are probably one of the most humble men I've met. I know you've done amazing work, but you haven't told me, I don't think, all the incredible achievements that you've had in your life. And I really respected that when we had our first phone call over Zoom, because I thought, here's a man who just wants to serve. That's the first impression I got, which is, for me, something I really respect. If you had to describe yourself, how would you do that?
Leslie, thank you for saying that. You're absolutely right. That is who I am. I do want to serve. I don't like speaking about myself or what I've achieved. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I feel like there's so much more left for me to do. If I was to describe myself, I would just say there's a lot of empathy in me. I care about people. For me, serving, even though I run businesses, for example, my accountant says to me, "You're the worst, most successful businessman I know," because it's all about serving. And off the back of serving, all my dreams have come true, which I know we're going to speak about today. So I don't know.
So you've never sat there and thought, why is it that I feel this desire to help others?
I have reviewed it. I have asked myself that, and I think, where does it come from? And a lot of the things that we do as adults sometimes stem from childhood, things that we've seen. I didn't know subliminally I was being influenced by my father. So lots of people would come into our home, and my dad wasn't wealthy, he's a working man, right? But he'd always give to people. And I could see even as a young child that he was being taken for a ride, but it was still very natural for him to place trust in everyone and do good. And then my mum said to him that they're probably not even going to use the money for what you're giving it to them for. And he said, at least my intention's pure. And I didn't realize this until I really probed into why am I like this? Why do things affect me a bit more? Why am I a bit more sensitive and I'm a bit more focused on parenting with my daughter, and others are a bit more normal? And I think it came down to that my intention is to always be the best I can be in every area.
That's really interesting. And that came from the values and I guess a standard that your father had set.
Yeah.
You do incredible work. Tell me about this amazing charity that you set up.
Thank you, Narup. I remember the early visits that I had to India with my mum took me twice, 6 months, both times. Something had happened and I had to be in India with her. And it was the first time, I must have been 10 years old, I would see children and poor people and people my like grandmother's age begging on the streets. And it was a bit of a shock to see that. And they're knocking on the windows and when you're reaching out to give them money, because you have loads of rupees, yeah? So when you're giving money, someone's grabbing your hand and saying, don't do that, you're going to spoil them. And it's really confusing because you want to help. Living in the UK, we're not used to seeing that level of poverty, but you're being told, don't do that. There's a confusing thing for me because I really wanted to do that. And as I started to get older and when I had a family, so Helene, my daughter's 9 years old now, and just before she was born, I remember going to Mamas and Papas and my wife said, look, what's the best car seat we can get? What's the best this? What's the best that? And there was this moment of, wow, we are wrapping this child in cotton wool. Thousands of pounds is going into this one child. What about all those other children that I know about on the other side of the world, or all over the world, that have no protection? As a father, is my responsibility limited to my one child? Is she more important than everyone else? And that stayed with me. And I meet a lot of friends that say, oh, I really do want to give more. And I was that person. So there was paralysis. I wanted to give to charity, but knowing how charity works, charity structure, not saying they're not operating in the right way, but when I buy someone food off the streets, I buy the food, I give it to them, I feel good. But when I give to charity, I wasn't getting that feeling. So what that meant for me was I wasn't giving to charity at all. So I was feeling incomplete. So I was on this bandwagon of business, making money, looking after my family, feeling great that I'm being a good man, but there was something missing inside. And I always knew I wanted to do something, but I couldn't find what that thing was until it landed in my lap, which was the charity that was formed in 2019, Wells on Wheels. So I was in my office one day, and a water cooler delivery came. So the water that goes on top of the cooler, the big bottle, right? Yeah. I'm not good with my hands at all. I'm someone who has mouse and keyboard, right? And there was no one in the office, so I picked these up. And I was going down the stairs, we've got a basement, and one fell out of my hand and it started to roll. And I've got a bit of a manufacturing background, so it was just a loose thought that what if I contact the suppliers in China and ask them, because it didn't break. I thought, hang on, just maybe we could put a handle on the side of these and it can turn into something that can transport water, because I was very well aware that water collection is still an issue in rural India because there's no piped water coming into the homes. So I contacted these suppliers, and whilst I was doing that, I found a lady called Cynthia who 2 years before me had invented a water wheel, but had also trialed it on all these terrains. So I contacted her. I said, you made a water wheel. How can I get one? She said, well, I'm no longer in India right now. We made it. We've tried it. I'm now in the US, but this is the factory that can make it for you. I contacted the factory. I said, yeah, so what does this exactly do? They said, yeah, look, it carries 5 times more water. You roll it, and it's good for the back because you're no longer head loading. They were just talking about the features, but I was thinking, wait, does this mean that they're not going to the well as much and the young girls and boys might be free from water collection? Because I could see that this is what happens as well. So I said, I'd like to place an order. They said, great. It was a £10,000 minimum order. I said, yeah, no problem. Where would you like it delivered? I said, can I let you know? Because I didn't even know where I'd get it delivered. And placed the order. And then I built the team from there. And I started my first delivery. And I just put it on my Instagram that, guys, I'm doing this. If anyone wants to get involved, let me know. Woke up the next day. My inbox was flooded with people like, we want to help. And Wells on Wheels started from there.
How long ago was that?
2019.
Okay, I want to backtrack a little bit because you said something which is really powerful. You said, if I'm a father, why should I just be limited to my daughter, not helping other children? That's a very beautiful sentiment. Where do you think that came from? This desire to love and help children? Because taking care of one kid, two kids is a challenging thing in of itself. Why did you want to help more?
Now, I want to clear up, I'm not a saint.
No?
Yeah. And I wouldn't have 100 kids in my home. I'm not that type of person either. But I just feel they're so innocent, they need protection. It's unfair, right? If Helena goes out in the sun for 2 minutes, she's smothered in sunblock. Yet these girls are walking 5 hours every single day back and forth, exposed to the elements, horrible things happening. It just doesn't feel right to me. Yeah.
And so when you found this factory and this spoke to this woman, why was she no longer pursuing it herself? Why wasn't the factory making it themselves and then turning that into their own business? How come that had ended?
I don't really know the ins and outs of it. She didn't communicate with me enough for me to get those answers, because I had a lot of questions and I wasn't getting the answers. But the factory was making it, and the factory was making it for all kinds of NGOs where they would place an order for 5 or 10. It was just a product.
Right.
And I turned it into what it is today by buying it in volume.
And so other companies are also offering the similar products.
So it's just made in one factory and other people can purchase it in bulk.
Oh, amazing.
And we're just a customer.
So you woke up one day and your inbox is flooded with all these messages. What did they say?
They said, this is amazing. We'd love to help. Which part of India? Have you thought of Africa? It was just everyone wanted to help. So I set up a Just Giving page. Target was £20,000. Reached that within a month. Then it was £50,000. And then it turned into a movement. So dentists started to donate a wheel for every time they did an Invisalign case. There were companies saying to us, look, we've been donating to XYZ charity. This really resonates with us because we've got children. And it was just anything I needed. So even someone says to me, oh, you've done a great job. I said, I've actually done nothing. I just put up a post. The fundraising, the work, the initial investment was all me. The running costs have been me. But the power comes from the people.
And so how did you go about then finding the right places in India to go to? Explain that journey to me.
I just called a contact that I knew in Nasik in India. I've got family in India as well. And the thing with this water wheel is that I could be in any part of India and I could find a village that has a well, that has a school. It's very typical where children are being taken to the wells, usually the girls, because son is with dad in the fields and daughter is with mum collecting water back and forth. So I could have been anywhere in India. So we started in Nasik and I said to the team manager there, I said, this is what we're going to do. Can you find a village for us? And he said, let me make a few calls. So I found the first village, second village. I could be doing this every day for the next 10 years probably, and we still wouldn't have covered the majority of India, because what this wheel is doing is it's temporarily solving an issue. And what I really want to happen off the back of this is that the girls attain an education and they leave the villages and go on to become something, because we already know the Asian subcontinent, we've got highly intelligent individuals and these girls want to learn. And that's what's happening now.
You told me that over a Zoom call the other day that the journey of collecting water is a dangerous journey, right? And in the Western world, we take it for granted that we live the life we do. Yes, there's challenges. Yes, our children might go through some challenges during the day, but it's nothing compared to what these kids in India face. For people who don't know, paint a picture of what a day might look like for one of these young girls who has to go and get water for the family, you know, how much water they need. I know it's not just one trip a day. Really kind of, I wanted to hit home the need for what you were doing.
So picture this, girls as young as 6 years old, mum wakes them up, 4 a.m. in the morning. There's no sunlight, okay? There's no paths. Many of them don't have footwear either. And it's like, wake up, we're going to collect water. This is the routine, this is the wake up call. They're waking up, smile on their face, by the way, which is something I don't still understand to this day. And they go and start this journey because it's cool at that time of the morning. They start this journey very early. It's usually 2-3 miles away, the well is. And also there could be traffic. So whoever gets there first is in a great position as well, because water runs out. And when it runs out, you have to go even further than 2-3 miles away. So they start this journey. And more often than not, there's no clean path to this well. It's not a nice paved road. There's terrain. You're falling. You're getting hurt. And there's also a lot of threats, not nice threats, male threats, and lots of bad things are happening in that darkness, which shouldn't be happening. So this goes on. This goes on every single day.
So it's a much bigger problem you're solving than just collecting water.
These girls, there's so many. There's health, there's safety. Children should have the freedom to be children. So the sort of things that we're hearing back from the villages are, now I can fulfill my dreams. Now I can become something. Some of these girls have left the villages to go to university. Something that we filmed a documentary to document this, so people can see what it's like. And we've got Rani, who's now studying to be a police officer. So we want them to achieve their full potential.
Do you think you would have felt differently if you weren't a father?
Yeah.
If you didn't have a daughter?
If I didn't have a daughter, I probably wouldn't be able to feel it like I feel it now. That's the truth.
Explain that. For those who don't have a kid, for those that don't have a daughter, I know it's hard to put into words, but just...
Let me ask you, Narup, you've got a daughter.
I do.
What happened the day after she was born? Did you feel a change within you?
Dude, the second she was born, I was the first person that held her.
Yeah.
You know, the nurse gave her to me first, wrapped her up, and she was in my arms. And I always say it to her. I'm like, I was the first person to ever hold you. She doesn't know what it means. One day she will.
Yeah.
She's 10, right? It just makes life, it gives meaning to life.
Yeah.
I think especially for a man, where was I yesterday? And they were saying, I was listening to on a podcast, men need responsibility. Men need responsibility. You take responsibility away from a man, he's no longer a man.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think there's a greater responsibility than raising a daughter, because naturally, I don't know whether it's in our genetics or the way we're raised or society, we don't worry as much about boys. Boys go, on a tree, they're climbing a frame, you're like, I leave him. If it's a girl, you're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm underneath waiting. It's ingrained. It's in our genetics.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I didn't have a daughter, I probably wouldn't be even doing this podcast. Probably wouldn't set up this organization, 100%.
Yeah.
I always say to Lara, I say, this is a men's mental health organization, but it's your organization. It's for her, really.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make me cry. Because ultimately, I needed to grow up and say, this is what a man is. Either you live up to my dad's standard, or you're not in my life. And we have a responsibility as men to, with daughters, to uphold their value. You've got to treat a woman with respect and a girl with respect. So if a father can't show their daughter, this is your value, this is what you're worth, how is she ever going to look at that for that in another man, or know what that respect and love means?
Yeah.
That's what a father's role is. That's why I feel so passionate about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can totally get it why you would have set up the charity up, because I think ultimately it's a service to your love for your child, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You answered it for me.
Yeah.
In that moment, you became a man. I became a man for the first time in that moment. And in that moment, I realize now that it's no longer about me. I'm not sure everyone sees parenthood the way you and I do. I'm not sure about that. But I certainly do. And for me, that moment was, any childish behavior I had, any anything I had, even, for as much as a bit of road rage that could happen, that doesn't happen because now I'm a father. Yeah. Father responsible. Father setting an example. And I had to become a better person, and becoming that better person made me look also that way, not just that Helena.
So have you gone over to India and met some of the girls whose lives you've changed, seen the wheel in action? Have you had a chance to experience that?
I've had a lot of video calls, but my visa, because both my parents were born in India, but when the partition happened, Dad moved to Pakistan. So the visa, I've been to India many times, but not after setting up the charity. So my visa's been rejected, and it takes me about a year to get a visa. So I'm in the process now. So I'm desperate to go, and it's crazy. I've not set foot in India since we started the charity. So I can't wait.
You said to me that you have helped so many girls get back into school, that the schools themselves are complaining they haven't got enough room. So tell me about that conversation, because I find that's a fascinating story.
So really early on, probably our third or fourth water wheel delivery, my ground manager is he gets quite anxious, right? Because you need permission for everything in India, right? Anything you want to do, even deliver a wheel, you're really meant to have some kind of permission, but there's no website you can go on. There's no gov.uk, so you never know if you're breaking the law or not. So anytime something would happen, even the smallest thing, I would get a call. And this time I got a call and he says, Shaz, we've got a complaint. I need to speak to you. We've got a complaint. And he's anxious. And I was like, complaint for what? All we're doing is delivering wheels and we're helping people. And he said, the school have called me in this village, and they are very stressed because for the first time in 20 years, this school is full and there's a queue of children outside. And I was just silent because I didn't really understand where this was going. And he says, he wants us to fix that problem. So what does he want us to do? Because I'm sure there's other people that can help him. And we heard that the first time, which I thought was quite funny. I had a smile on my face because great, mission accomplished. Then we kept hearing it. And that's been a beautiful thing for me. So there's some amazing people out there that are helping us with that problem as well.
So do you think you're going to end up building a school? Would that be something you'd look into?
You know, the reason we've been able to make so much progress, and I do this in all aspects of my life, is that I don't clutter my vision. My vision is wheels, and that's what I'll do. The minute I start doing other things, something's got to give. So I'll be the wheel man. Someone else can be the school man or woman. Someone else can be the food man or woman. But I'll do one thing, and I'll do it really well.
I love that. You don't want to take your eye off the goal. So tell me about the documentary. Yeah, how did that all come about? I'd love to hear the process of that and what was captured and the stories that were told.
So when I tell people about Wells on Wheels, when people say, look, what do you do? And I explain it, you can't really understand it until you see it with your own eyes. So I wanted to transport people to that region so they can see it for themselves. And I've got no experience in filming and all of that, but I do know that I did know that I wanted to tell a story. So it took me a few years to find the right team, the right people, how it would look, even, how I would get it onto the platforms. And this journey started a few years before we started to film. And then I found the right director who shared my vision, because whilst I was producing it, it's really the director's role to bring it to life. And I wanted it to be authentic. And I wanted it to be immersive, but also not something you watch and you feel sad. I want it to be uplifting. So of course there's sadness in there, but by the end of it, I want you to feel uplifted. So when we filmed it, it was, like I said, UK Dentistry, privately we're speaking, UK Dentistry's fueled Wells on Wheels, because I'm part of UK Dentistry. And I held a day in middle of the week for the screening. And we had 2 screens in the middle of the week, completely full with dentists from all over the country, and so many more wanted to come. So we did this screening. And then it went on Amazon Prime. And about a week or 2 later, woke up and there was I think the email had come in at 4 a.m. There was a donation for $20,000. And it was, the surname was Patel, a lady in New York. And I just had this horrible feeling that maybe she's added an extra zero by mistake. That's all I could think of, because I've never had a donation like that. I just thought someone old has made a mistake. So I emailed her and said, look, thank you very much, but if you have made a mistake, please tell me and we can correct it. And she replied back saying, look, I watched your documentary and what you're doing is so incredible. She said, my mother used to be one of the ladies that used to collect that water.
Wow.
She said, if I could give you more than that, I would. And I felt so responsible in that moment that I said, look, I'm going to keep you up to date, how we're spending your money. I was sending her pictures, videos. She did say, I'm a really ill lady. So I've emailed her about 10 times since. I've never heard back. But so many magical things started to happen off the back of it. And it's not just money, actually, Naroop. When people say, how can I help? We are receiving money. It's really hard to spend it sometimes because it takes a long time to get to the village, deliver it. Just sharing the message is also a form of donation. So many things have happened off the back of the documentary. And whilst fundraising is a great byproduct, for people to understand what's happening. So families that have watched the documentary, it's a short film. They've said, we've watched it as a family. And now my children really appreciate their school uniform, their clothes, that they get to study. When they turn the tap on, they're turning it off before they would leave it running whilst brushing their teeth. So many things have come off the back of it.
That's amazing, man, to get a donation of £20,000.
Yeah.
I remember when I did this project called the Seek Project, which is a photography exhibition. It was 4 years of me and my business partner, Amit, photographing men, Sikh men with their beards and turbans. And then we went to New York and we also included women. And we had many exhibitions here. And then we had a big exhibition in Manhattan. And I remember when we were raising money for the London exhibitions, because we crowdfunded that, we had a couple of donations which were like £2,000-3,000 a pop. And when we were only trying to raise £9,000 for the exhibition,
Yeah.
I think we raised the money in like 4 days.
Yeah.
Right. And then it just kept going and going. We had put on an amazing exhibition. And it's amazing when people really support you for what you were trying to do. We were trying to, raise awareness. Sort of in the UK, we're celebrating the identity of Sikh men and the changing styles of the beard and turban of modern Sikh men. In America, it was about raising awareness about the Sikh identity, because a lot of post 9/11, a lot of Sikh people were getting called terrorists. And to see your community come together and support was really powerful. So I can imagine for you to see people, I guess, sharing your vision, supporting your vision, must have been a beautiful thing, right?
It's incredible. Even yesterday, someone messaged me, a dentist, saying, look, I notice in the documentary, a lot of the girls, they don't have footwear. Is it okay if I send you some money that for Diwali, we could buy them all trainers and shoes and whatever it might be? We're like, yeah, we'll do that for you. But what I'll do for you in return is I'll film it and send it to you so you can get that feeling. Because I want to make sure if you donate, so we film all our deliveries, I want you to feel like you've gone there and delivered it. So we've made a system where practices that donate wheels, when you give £28, it's actually associated to a wheel that we can trace back to a particular family, because it was so important for me that people know that it's not just another charity like any other charity. £28 goes straight into one wheel.
So one wheel cost £28?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like much.
We spend that on the mains in London, don't we?
A few coffees and...
Yeah.
So how much time does it save? Talk to me about it. You said that because they don't have to go to the well, they can start going to school, but they've still got to collect water because the wheel just makes the transport easier.
That's right. So the wheel carries 5 times more water. So whereas mum was going 5 times, she's now going once. Right? And children, the girls, they're not going at all. And one thing about helping in India, because I've experienced this myself, where before Wells on Wheels, I've got a cousin there and I said, look, I want to help people, but film it for me because I want to feel it. So he said, look, there's a family, really young couple. They've had a child. They've got nothing. I said, great. He said, send some money. I said, no, I want to buy them the cot. I did all of that, cot, clothes, the full works. We later found out that they sold all of that because really what they needed was money to eat and survive. And whilst I can understand that, it's just felt like anything I tried to do, I would sometimes get disappointed. But with the wheel, I deliver a wheel. Who are you going to sell it to? Someone else who needs a wheel. It's such a clear, transparent operation model. And there are no middlemen. So there's honesty. There's no one. People have tried it with me. Yeah, we'll do it like this and try to mark up at the fact. It's not happening because I've been to India. I know how India works. I can speak the language. Not fooling me. It's going to be transparent. So the operation of it has to be crystal clear as well.
You're a businessman, right? But yet you're very giving. And it's a kindness to you. I'd love to understand your mindset around money.
Yeah.
Because you were telling me how you've got a new venture where you want to celebrate success, but not the typical success. Success in family, in values, in the other things in life that are much more meaningful.
Yeah.
I think sometimes men can feel depressed or challenged. Their mental health can suffer because they have financial worries and stress.
Yeah.
I think a shift in mindset about money, success, self-worth is sometimes all they need.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your opinions on money, the meaning of it, making it, holding it, giving it. Tell me about how you view that.
See, money is an interesting topic because money means a lot of things to a lot of people and it's different for all of us. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Yes, we need money for shelter, for food. But then it becomes a point where money can become an obsession, especially for young men. And I've always said, when someone says, oh, you're doing really well, I said, yeah, I'm a billionaire. And they look at me. I say, I'll tell you why I'm a billionaire. Because I can eat where I like. I can buy clothes whenever I want. I can wake up and I've got freedom. If I've got that, there is no more money you can give me today that is going to give me more peace, more freedom than I have now. God willing, I still have that. So there comes a point where chasing money, instead of spending time with your daughter, for example, to me looks like insanity. So money for me is, yeah, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to serve. And if the byproduct is I get paid for it, great. But stockpiling money for me is not exciting. Serving is exciting. I see the product of it. Elena speaks about, she won't say it to me, but I'll hear her speaking to her friends that me and my dad have a charity. And if you Google me, I'm on Google and she's proud because I'm teaching her about giving from an early age. No Lamborghini or Gucci belt is going to give me that feeling. So I feel as young men, yeah, sure, there's a lot out there that's saying hustle and do this and do that. But I'm telling you, as someone who's just hit 40, right, that these things, they don't give you ultimate satisfaction and happiness. There's a lot of people that have done this their whole life and they're like, I wish I spent more time with my parents. I wish I spent more time with my kids. I just want to share with you actually, one of the world's leading child psychologists, she's passed away now. She lived behind my office and we'd pass each other in the street and sometimes I'd help her. Like she said, oh, my emails aren't working. She had no idea what I did or didn't do. So I'd help her with her emails now and again. And she would counsel or offer therapy to quite high net worth individuals that would bring their children to her for therapy of all ages. And she had written a book called Gifted Lives. Like she would be on CNN all the time. And I said, Joan, just tell me, and this is before I had Helena. I said, tell me, Joan, what do I need to know as someone that wants to be a good parent? She said, it's very simple. There's only one thing you need to do. Just play with your children. That's all they want. And I've never forgot that. When my daughter says, let's play Monopoly, I don't say no. I was like, get the board. Because I know that's someone who knows a lot more than me. And I say that to all my friends who've got kids. Just play with them. Make sure you play with them. And when you're playing with them, pay attention. Because they're not always gonna be that age. They're gonna grow up and you're gonna miss those days.
I really value that. And yeah, I'm just saying, I'm thinking back to all the times I played with my daughter, and you're right. They want your attention. And she loves to dance, Lara, now. So for her, is I've got to watch her dance routines. Dad, look what I learned today in dance class. She's doing all these moves. Why is she doing it? Why does she want me to see it? It's her way of knowing she's loved and cared for.
Yeah.
Has meaning in your life.
You're her hero.
Yeah. But at the same time, the phone starts beeping. Emails are coming in.
Yeah.
You got to do work. You got to manage it, right? But you don't want them to feel bad. I know you have very strong opinions on fatherhood and being a man and what a good man looks like. Tell me about them.
There are a lot of absent fathers, by intention, not by intention. Our children, look, it's a really difficult economy out there. It's never been harder to live in some ways. If you look at financially, the pressures, all sorts of things are happening. So we're coming home tired, we're coming home distracted, and it's having an impact on our children. But do we really need to be so wired into our phones on every email? I mean, could we take out 1 hour and be like, I'm just gonna sit there, listen to you, play with you, be there? So I said to you on our Zoom that I don't even know why you want to interview me, but if off the back of this there's a father listening, and they've got a boy or a girl, and if they just hear this and think, you know what, actually, I will watch my daughter dance, I will play with my son, I will listen to them when they ask me a question instead of acting frustrated, that could make a huge difference to that boy's or girl's confidence. So that's important to me, sending that message out there.
Why do you think so many parents are absent? Because it's a problem with fathers, but also mothers too. What do you think is causing this absent parent syndrome?
I really don't know, Naru, but it could be that we don't know the impact of it. Yeah, maybe our parents were absent with us, so we're doing the same thing and we turned out all right. You know, that's the kind of thing that we say. But there's so much study out there done on this kind of thing. We hear it now, like grown-ups going to therapy. Oh, my dad was never at home. Mum didn't really, and both parents are thinking like, shit, I tried my best for you. I was working for you. But that's not what I wanted, Dad.
Yeah. It's true, actually. When I think back to the way I was raised by my parents, they were amazing parents. Always showed me love, but they both were busy working. And there's my granddad, who used to actually pick me up from school, me and my brother. Both my granddads from both my mum and my dad's side used to pick us up. And I've got actually really strong memories of my grandfather, my dad's dad. Because he was, I guess, playing the role my dad should have, because my dad was building the business and growing the business. And so I don't have those memories of my dad picking me up from school and, you know, buying me an ice cream and buying me a drink. I have my granddad doing that. But she still is a father figure, obviously. Yeah. But I have my strongest memory of my dad from when I was younger is once when he came home from work, I was sitting on a sofa and he grabbed me and he was cold and he grabbed me and he said, "Oh, you're my radiator." That's the only memory I think I can remember of him really being emotional with me from a young age, which is quite sad, I think, because it wasn't his fault. He sent me to private school.
Wow.
From 3 years old, me and my brother. From 3 years old,
huge.
Private school all the way to 18. Yeah. But then I guess, would I like to have some more memories of playing with him? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it's hard for that balance. Like, especially now, I'm a single dad. Now I've got to work and show her love. I've got a business. This is a startup. And I've got to work. And I've got to be present. It's hard for men, isn't it? If you were in my position as a single dad, how do you think you would manage it? And what would you do?
My priorities wouldn't change if I was a single dad. My priorities would still be the same. The pressure would be higher. So I rate you for having to juggle all of that. But they're all important. Those are all important areas of your life. See, without working, you can't be a good father. And you're not going to be fulfilled as a father if you're also not working. So we the real sense check, the real KPI is the width of your daughter's smile when you see her.
Love that. Tell me about your opinions on men's mental health for the moment. You've probably seen in the news that young men are suffering, men are feeling lonely, unfulfilled. What do you think is causing this crisis, this men's mental health crisis?
Is there a lot of pressure on us as males in this society? Financially, I mean, to even buy a house, many people cannot because it's difficult to survive. It's difficult to hit that what society tells us is successful. So I feel there's a lot of pressure there. Also, we're now living in an environment where speaking about our feelings as men is celebrated. It's welcome. If I think about my friend group circle, male friends, we've got no idea what anyone is going through. We're just making jokes when we meet. It's so on the surface because showing weakness isn't something that we're that comfortable with. But I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's a great thing because do I want my son or daughter to bottle everything up? I don't want that. There is a crisis. I don't really know where it's coming from. There's lots of reasons for it. But I do think the pressures of society, social media, comparison, all of that are bubbling this mental health pot. I think there was a study done recently that there's 24% of children in high school have stated that they've got mental health issues. And then the older generation are saying, it's all made up, it's all in the head. Truth is, I don't know. I just feel that someone's going through a difficult time. That one person should be there to be able to hold their hand and speak to them, call it mental health support, call it whatever you want. There needs to be more support out there. And I think it's a good thing people are being encouraged to speak because I'm not from that generation. Yeah, I don't speak about things. I speak to myself.
Why don't you speak?
It's a training, Narup. Sometimes if someone asks me the right questions in the right time and you ask enough of it, you got those friends that really care. It'll come out, but my default setting is everything's fine.
Is there stuff that you felt like you wanted to talk about that you've never had the opportunity to talk about?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. And then you just move on.
Do you feel like you've moved through those things?
Yeah, I've moved through that because it becomes a standard operating procedure, really. You feel something, there's a process, so you feel it, there's rage or anger or upset, disappointment. And you feel it for a few hours, then you accept it. So I've understood, got a few psychologist friends that have told me about that cycle. We all go through some kind of trauma at some point.
Of course.
So once it happens once, happens twice, happens 3 times, you kind of know how to handle it.
Yeah. But you're handling it in a healthy way.
Now, yeah, I would say. Now, yeah.
Well, you haven't always handled it in a healthy way, would you say? Or
Look, you're a businessman. So when I was first starting my business, everyone put me on a pedestal. Oh, you're great. I'm a designer by profession. And I remember there was these 2 sisters. They loved me. They're like, you are amazing. I was in my early 20s. But then when they gave feedback, it was so like, did you even do this? Was this you? Were you okay? Were you tired when you made this? It just really hurt. And I remember in the early days, there would be times where I would just I even shed a few tears after reading some of these emails. But now I look back, it was just words about a design. So you start to toughen up. Yeah. The meaning you attach to these things are our own. So I feel that I've done a lot of self-development to realize that. Just build that barrier, that thicker skin, and life just becomes a little bit easier. So if someone's angry in the street, shouting, swearing, it's just like water off a duck's back. I'm happy. That cannot affect me.
Oh, dude, I can totally relate because me and my business partner, Amit, been photographers and filmmakers for over 22 years. And I remember when we used to do work and would send the photos in and people would say something negative, I used to really feel it. 'Cause I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Do you know how much effort we put into lighting that and the composition? And how can they not see this? But it's opinion
Yeah.
and it's subjective and it's creativity.
Yeah.
And not everyone appreciates, oh, it took us 4 hours to light that.
Yeah.
And then it was the models or the person was really hard to work with. And, you know, we got it exactly at that moment. The lighting was perfect. They're not meant to understand it.
It's fantastic that you said this, because I have this conversation a lot with business owners. And my own journey on this is find clients that understand, that value your work, or spend time educating them. One of the two, and you won't feel this way. I'd rather find clients that really value my work.
So tell me about your work as a designer and you work with mainly dentists. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, if you caught me in an elevator and you said, oh, so what do you do? I'd say I design websites for dentists. But really what my company Digimax does is elevate the visibility for a practice. There's practices out there that don't need websites or SEO or branding. They're going to operate. They're always going to turn over. So my role is to put their great work on a megaphone. Marketing is only really 15-20% of a business. The rest of it is, the nucleus is in the business itself, the quality of it. We already know that patients or clients grow a business. So I always educate them and say, serve them really well. Your business will grow. And then if you want, use us to just amplify that, put that on a megaphone. Because using marketing to attract people to your business and there's no rapport, they're going to be really difficult clients, right? You've probably experienced that. So it's about not marketing to people who've got no idea who you are. It's about marketing the rapport with people who should be finding you, more like the people that already work with you. So holistically, that's what Digimax does.
A lot of business owners, male business owners, face challenges with their mental health because of the pressures of being an entrepreneur, business owner, self-employed. How have you managed your stress with work? What do you use? What tools do you use to stay calm, have a rational approach on stuff?
I'm really proud of my achievements in this area because I'm sure most founders will relate to this. You're never off the clock. 24/7, you're checking your emails. The minute you check an email, you are in work mode. Now, do I want to work with a company where they're proactive or just replying to me in business hours? Probably the proactive one. But then in trying to be proactive, I'm damaging myself because I'm burning out. So am I really serving that client in that moment? So I have mastered the art of switching off. And I mastered this about 15 years ago. So in the hours that I work, there are very few people that I've seen that can work as focused as I can. I do one task at a time. I don't multitask. And my goal is do one thing every day that moves the needle for where I want to go. Okay. If I've done that, my to-do list is 100 items. But I do one thing, I tick it off and I'm like, yeah, I did something very good today. But the minute it hits Helena's school time, like she's come home, there is nothing happening in my head. It's empty because I've removed that so I can come back fresh the next day. I don't feel I need to be working 24/7. Sure, she goes to sleep and there's a fun project and I'll do it, but I am not thinking about work 24/7 because the hours in which I work, I make sure I think about it very well and I build a team that are like me so that I'm not forever working 24/7. That's not business.
I love that term, master the art of switching off.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How is that done? Because I think it sounds easy,
Yeah.
but I'd love to learn it myself because I find it hard to switch off, mainly because what I do, I really enjoy. And I just want to get back at it. But that's not always healthy because even though I might want to get back at it, it could probably wait till tomorrow morning. I could probably do with not looking at a screen again at 9 o'clock at night. Even if it's not just for my mental health, but for my physical health, my eyes probably need a break from that screen in front of my face. How would I master the art of switching off?
If you're loving what you're doing, we've all been there where it's 2 a.m. and we're like, that didn't even feel like work. If that's happening, you're in the zone, great, do it. But it's every so often we got to sit down and look at what are our priorities. Is it health? Is it being, because when I don't get my sleep or I've not eaten, I can be ratty, right? I can't focus properly on what Helena's asking me. I could be short if she's being difficult. So just getting the priorities right. So once I understand the priorities, then all my actions work backwards from there. So there's so much work I've got to do in a day, but if it hits 6, 7 o'clock and I'm feeling drained, I know at that point, there is no point me continuing at the sake of not spending time with my family or my parents or whatever it is. I just switch off. It's just now home is the work. Now going for a walk is the work. I'm ruthless with it. I don't give my number out to everyone. I don't reply to WhatsApps as soon as they come in. I'm known for that. No one's getting offended. If I see a 4-minute voice note, I'm thinking, well, I'll decide if I want to hear that. I haven't lost any friends over it. There's so many emails. I had an autoresponder. I think I still do. And it says, immediately you'll receive, and it'll say, I don't really respond to emails. These are the people to contact because these are my priorities at the moment. But I promise you, if you want to speak to me, we are going to speak. But I've taken the control out of it. So now the control is in my hands.
Yeah.
Without compromising who I'm serving, without it feeling like, that he's coming across arrogant, because that's absolutely not what this is about. This is about serving really, really well. And for me to do that, I need to remove distraction.
It's funny, when we get a WhatsApp, it's almost like we feel like we have to reply straight away. And then I've realized that if I don't reply to someone for 2 days, I'll say, sorry, I didn't get back to you yet, but should I be sorry? Or you sent me a message. It's up to me when I want to reply. But there's a level of guilt that, oh no, they're going to think I'm ignoring them. Oh no, they've seen, I've read the message. I better reply now. Or I just don't open it because I don't want them to see the 2 blue ticks. Because then I've got to reply and I don't want to have a long WhatsApp conversation. Yeah. So do I just quickly reply and then come offline so they don't start having a conversation? It's a whole... It's I guess it's worry inducing, isn't it, really? Because you're worried about how people perceive you. You don't want to lose friends. You don't want to have awkward conversations.
I don't think this much. I see it. If I want to reply, I'll reply. Yeah. And no one is getting offended because I feel people get it. In fact, about 10 years ago, I remember receiving WhatsApps in the evening, and I was like this actually, because I said I've mastered it, because I used to be like that. I've not always been like that. And it was I was relaxed, and I was like, I've done everything for the day. I'm getting WhatsApps for work, and it was switching me back into work mode. And they were really sort of difficult WhatsApps as well, where I had to think and make a decision. And I got so pissed off, Narup, that was happening to me in that moment. I wrote an article, WhatsApp Business Etiquette.
Right.
I put it on, I think it's got about 30,000 views. It's #1 article still now, right? You type into Google WhatsApp Business Etiquette, it comes up. Do not add people to groups that they've not given consent to. Do not message people after 7 p.m. I made these rules to protect founders, to protect their mental health. But now we all know that that's not how WhatsApp works. So it's like, it's not that deep. I'll reply when I can.
You said something earlier, which has stayed with me. You said, I'm the wheelman. I don't need to, one thing at a time, let someone else build the schools. That's actually quite interesting to have that level of focus and not have that FOMO of, actually, if I do this, I could also do that. Because in today's day and age, so many opportunities can come to you. And then you're like, I think I could do that as well. And then I could do that. It's all kind of interlinked, isn't it? Because I'm doing this wheels, and then the girls are going to go to the school. So then I could just tie it in and go and expand. And, I could... What makes you not have that fear of missing out on other opportunities? Or what gives you the sense of importance of staying focused on one thing? And what lessons can people and men learn in life about having that laser focus on one thing?
Profit is in less. I used to be that company that could design your logo, that could trademark it, that could print your leaflets. You name it, we could do it. Was I the best in providing all of those services? I was a generalist. I was a GP. I wasn't a specialist. which limited my growth. Now, all I do is design websites for dentists and rank them high on Google. Sure, a doctor calls us and says, we're not a dentist, could you help us? We say no, because my focus is on one thing, which has scaled my organization to the size it is now. So I can just serve dentists throughout the country, around the world. And it's allowed me to achieve all my goals, write the books, do the charity. So I know that doing more, diversifying for me is distraction. I've got some really successful friends who own hotels and this and that, but none of them are running well. They're all surviving. Nothing is running. I'm proud of my business and the services that I offer. But I know if I go and take equity in 5 different businesses, I get offered equity for free. They said, no money in, you'll become a partner. You just have to be on our board and help us and do what you've done. I'm not going to do it because I still have got so much work left to do. And you've got to remember, your clients are trusting you. When they're saying, I want to work with you, they're saying, we trust you. So am I being trustworthy by distracting myself with all these things? So the only thing I distract myself with is my family and my charity. And then everything else has to fit in with what I'm doing.
How do you overcome the FOMO of like, yeah, but I could probably make, 500 grand off that deal. Like what gives you, is it the sense of fulfillment through what you're already doing now? Or do you just don't worry about it, you just don't want it?
It's happened to me, Narub. So before Digimax Dental, my company was called Digimax. And this is just before Helena was born. Helena was in her mummy's tummy. And I had contracts with some really large organizations that we've all heard of. And what would happen was on a Friday, they would say, hey, Shaz, calling from House of Fraser, for example, we've got this project and we'd love Digimax to do this for us. I'd say, yeah, great. Thank you so much for thinking of us. This is what it is. I was like, yeah, we can do it. The only thing is we need it by Monday. This is Friday at 3 p.m. This project would take us 2 weeks to produce with 4 people. And I say, oh, that's a bit short. They're like, oh, no, if you can't do it, we'll give it to XYZ. I said, no, I didn't say that. I'll do it. I was just saying. So what that would do is I would have pressure, and I'm giving pressure to lots of fathers in the organization. So I didn't have children, but some of my team did. I'm saying, guys, we've got to work. Like, how can you not? This is an opportunity. So we're now working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, delivering something on Monday. So there's lots of money coming in, but we were burnt out. We were stressed. We weren't good when we were getting home. And Helena, at that point, Helena wasn't even born yet. And I thought, I've been able to do this up until now. Will I be able to still be an incredible father and continue this? So something else happened, which I won't go into today, but I stood up in my office and I said, from today, we are closing Digimax. We are going to not do any more work for non-dental businesses, and we are only going to build Digimax Dental. My team turned around. There's about 8 of us at that time, and they're like, shit, we're going to lose our jobs. I turned away £800,000 of contracts. They were there calling them one by one. Thank you very much for your contract. We won't be able to fulfill it further. Let's make arrangements. So I've been there where I've turned everything down, and now it's like burning the boat. I have to succeed. So, because I've done that, a £500,000 offer, I've had some amazing offers. I was like, nah, thank you very much. It does not align with where I need to go.
I guess it's self-belief in your vision, right? You know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's like me now. If someone offered something that's not aligned with where I see my future, I just no interest.
Yeah.
Don't I just see it as I almost get to a point where I'm like physically, I can just feel a vibration is a stress. Like, no, I'm not meant to do that. This is what I'm doing.
But you've been on a journey to feel that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
One hell of a journey.
Yeah.
And I've tried a lot of things too, which I think is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Try it, see where you fit. And then eventually you'll hit something which just resonates with you.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're there and everyone sees that this is your calling, not much of anything else. And then there's a sense of peace that you could have every opportunity fly your way. Like, nah, that's a great opportunity, but there's a million people that are better than me at that. But when you're aligned to what you're doing,
Exactly.
you're the best at it, and that's it.
That's it.
And you're right, you can get everything you want from there, right?
Absolutely. If an opportunity comes my way and it fits in with what I do, then yeah, I'll be all ears. And it doesn't feel like work. And it feels like serving. Like, is it help making people's lives better through what I do? I'll hear it. More often than not, it's like, thank you very much, but I'm okay.
You seem like a man who's very aligned with purpose, the importance of doing something of value. A lot of men are lost. They don't know what to do. Hate their jobs. You know, thinking, is this it? This is what my life is meant to be. Just, I hate going to work. If you came across a man like that and they said, Shaz, man, look, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just doing it because I have to. How would you encourage them to find purpose? Have you had conversations? Have you met people like that? Have you ever guided people to find what their calling might be?
I meet a lot of people like that. And the trend I see in all of them is they're not holding themselves to high standards. They're upset, but their standards are very low for themselves. So I used to be that guy. They'd be like, do this, do that, do it like this. Hey, you do, you offer IT, why don't you do? And I'd be like, there's no action being taken. So the ones that are desperate to take action and I can see that they're holding themselves to a high standard. And it's a bonus that they're a parent, because then I'm making time for them. I'll guide them and I'll tell them exactly what I would do if I was in their situation. And it usually involves putting in the graft, having some self-belief, and solving a problem at scale.
I know when I see a man who I think holds himself to high standards, certain things I immediately see about their demeanor, confidence, their appearance. I'm like, this person respects himself. This man holds himself with high regard. What are the things that you look for? And you can look at a man and think, yeah, this guy he's smart. He knows what he's doing.
How they carry themselves.
Describe that. What does that mean?
Are they making eye contact? That says a lot to me about their confidence, their belief in themselves. Their appearance. Do they take pride in themselves? If I've got a team, the team members that go to the gym regularly, I know they've got that discipline muscle in them. For me, that's great. There's so many little signals. People who always tend to have problems in their life. Yeah. And you hear it and you start to think that, is this your operation? Is this the standard operating procedure for you where everything is a problem? Because problems attract problems. So it's a mindset thing. I know people with more problems where you wouldn't even know they've got them because they're still smiling because they're grateful. So you get these signals. And to be honest with you, Naroop, I'm not in those rooms anymore. So I don't know what's happening, because I feel that if I'm around that, it affects me. So I've distanced myself from anything that, again, takes me away from what I'm meant to be doing.
And why is that important to be in those rooms?
I'm on a journey. I've got so much more work to do, and I don't know it all. So I want to learn from people who know better than me. I think there was a study done where they got four people in a room. 3 of them were high achievers, and they put a low achiever in there, someone who's quite venomous, stirring the pot. And the grades of all the other 3 people went down. So I'm paraphrasing here, but just having a small influence can have a big impact. Small negative influence can have a big impact.
I met somebody once who said, if you meet someone and they're vibrating at a lower frequency than you, meaning they're always got problems, they're negative, etc., and you're on a higher frequency, they will actually bring you down to their frequency rather than you lifting them up. It's easier to go the other way around.
Yeah.
That your frequency drops to theirs rather than the other way around. It's harder to pull up. It's easier to fall.
Wow.
And so that study you said, I can totally see that happening.
Yeah. And I want to be clear that anyone listening, do not mistake this for I'm better than them or they're better than me. That's not what this is about. Some of my most insightful conversations come from my cleaner. He sends me WhatsApps with videos and content. And I'm like, this guy is working on himself. He's improving himself. I'm learning from him. So don't judge people based on their job role or the status or where they are in life. Base them on how they speak, what they're contributing. So I just want to make that clear to anyone listening, because that could be misinterpreted.
You're right, because there's a sense when you said a man's appearance, how they hold themselves, there's scales to that. There's the people who buy all the designer stuff and it's really just a mask for an insecurity. And you get people who are so secure, they don't need any of it. Plain t-shirt, jeans, normal watch, but their confidence vibrates so loudly that they don't need nothing else. You're like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy who's got everything sorted.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's magnetic.
Yeah.
You can't even explain it. In 2 seconds, you're like, this guy's got his stuff together.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow this guy. I'm going to listen to him. And the other guy is showing up all like, nah, that's the weakness, man, because their vibration is off. They're talking too much about themselves. They're the loudest in the room.
Yeah.
Give me attention. And you're like, hey, that guy's got some work to do. So I totally agree. It's not about showing off. It's about inner peace, I think, inner self-worth, acknowledgement. Probably those guys have probably been through a lot of challenges, slain a few dragons, come out the other side, got some scars, but it's okay. They're good people to have around, right?
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed talking to you in this conversation. I think me and you are quite aligned in the way we see the world, which is quite a nice thing to experience. What's something that you think we should have spoken about that we haven't actually discussed yet?
I think you've done a very good job. You're a very good host, Arup. I think there should be a part 2.
That will come. But I love the idea of what your charity does. I love the fact that it's purpose driven. It stems from a raw emotion to help. I think I align to it a lot because I'm trying to be of service through this stuff. And it's not easy being of service when you're trying to do something for other people. And you said you self-funded your charity yourself. So you're giving away, and you're giving your own money, you're putting your own skin in the game. But it's beautiful what can be achieved when you really focus at that one thing and care about it so passionately. And even for this podcast, for it to grow and for the company to do as well as it's doing is because of this deep desire of, I'm going to stay up late at night, do all these things, because there's that purpose, that vision. I know I can see the help. Just as you could see the girls going back to school, I can see the messages from men and women sending me, saying how much value they're getting from it. So, I can totally understand why you do what you do. It's been a real pleasure here, man, to have you on the podcast. I want to leave you with one question. Considering how much you do, how do you want to be remembered as a man?
That he was a good man. That's enough for me.
What does good mean?
Good heart, kind, fair, honest, and integrity. That is winning for me.
Amazing, brother. Thank you, man. It's been a real pleasure to have you on, man. I really enjoyed the
Thank you
conversation.
very much for inviting me. Thank you.